Army communications specialist who always puts his family and country first. At least that's what people must have thought, because he got elected. He was working hard to make sure he got to keep his job for another term, and it was their family's job, Diana's job, to make sure she didn't do anything wrong that could make voters question whether they wanted him back in office. No pressure there. "Catherine?" she yelled, knowing how much her stepmother hated raised voices. No response. She must have already gone downstairs. Dad would be in meetings already. Diana bit her lip as she reached for the gold studs Catherine gave her for her 16th birthday, then added the gold cross necklace that had technically been from her father. She'd pretended not to notice when one of the aides handed him the box that he'd clearly been unaware of up until that moment. "Little touches make all the difference," Catherine insisted. "People notice the details." Yes, they did, Diana thought, as she reached into her jewelry box and pulled out the ratty friendship bracelet she'd made for herself years ago, wishing she'd had someone to give it to and to get one in return from. No one ever assumed the popular girl needed to be given a gift. No one thought about whether the popular girl was lonely when she went home. Everyone assumed the popular girl had a million friends and a family who supported her. Diana walked to her mirror and checked her makeup. Just enough to make her blue eyes look bigger. Nothing more, or people might question whether she was a good girl. And she was supposed to be a good girl. She ticked off her stepmother's checklist one by one. Good shoes, a nice home, top grades, smart, respectable family tree, perfect manners. All signs of a strong, well-brought-up girl. A girl everyone claimed to know from school. One parents and teachers pointed to as an example to others. One who had been taught to calculate her appearance and demeanor down to the plain red color of her cell phone case. One who was determined to use it all to show everyone that it was foolish to trust what someone wanted you to see. Perfect. And if she didn't want to ruin her perfect image, Diana would have to get moving. Tardiness was not acceptable for a girl who was supposed to be without flaws. Tardiness implied a lack of respect for other people's time. Glancing at her watch, she shook her head and hurried downstairs to find her stepmother so she could get a ride to school for the yearbook meeting. "Catherine?" she called. No answer. Huh. Well, Catherine was probably in the backyard, making sure the staff had polished the patio furniture to a shine so that guests could be invited back to the house after the event tonight. "Catherine!" "Your mother went out." "What?" She turned and spotted her father standing next to the porch swing with his cell phone pressed to his ear. Since there was no point in correcting him about Catherine's relationship to her, she simply asked, "Where?" He put a hand up to quiet her. "Yes, I'm here. And yes, I understand there's been some pushback. But I can't step back from the bill or I'll get hammered. The press will smell blood and it'll be over, and we all know I'm right on this. I just need one thing to tip in my favor. You have to trust me on this." Diana started to speak again, but before she could get a word out, her father turned his back and nodded. She would have to get in line for his attention. "Yes, I'll make that distinction tonight, and don't worry. The event will be the perfect place to highlight the positive points in the bill and to take charge of the conversation. If you have other things you want to talk about, I'll be at the office in half an hour. Good speaking with you too, Tim. I appreciate your dedication. We're going to turn things around." Finally, he hung up and turned toward her. He was wearing perfectly pressed khakis and a red polo shirt under a deep blue sports coat. Relaxed authority was what her stepmother called the look. But despite the clothes, Diana didn't think her father appeared relaxed. "That was Tim?" Her father nodded. "He's worried about the negative press my safety through education bill is getting." Tim hadn't been on her father's staff as long as the others, but he was smart and perceptive, which is why her father's chief of